Hi everyone, welcome to NEET Biology channel. If an angiosperm embryo sac is 8 nucleate and 7-celled, what cellular and developmental mechanism best explains this structure? A. One nucleus is absorbed by the central cell after degeneration. B. One cell undergoes meiosis, while others remain haploid. C. Two nuclei remain in a shared cytoplasmic compartment without wall formation. D. Mitosis occurs without DNA replication. Correct answer is C. Two nuclei remain in a shared cytoplasmic compartment without wall formation. Explanation: the mature embryo sac of most angiosperms contains 8 nuclei, but only 7 cells because the two polar nuclei remain free within the large central cell and do not get partitioned into separate cells by cell walls. This condition arises due to a series of 3 mitotic divisions of the functional megaspore, where cytokinesis does not occur after each nuclear division, leading to a cenocytic, free nuclear, structure. Later, partial cellularization forms cells around 6 of the nuclei, 3 at the micropylar end, egg and synergids, and 3 at the chalagial end, antipodals. But the two polar nuclei remain together in the central cell cytoplasm. Thus, option C correctly identifies the mechanism. Option A is incorrect because no nucleus is absorbed. Both polar nuclei remain active. Option B is factually incorrect as all megaspores are haploid and the embryo sac develops from mitosis of the functional megaspore, not meiosis. Option D is incorrect because mitosis does involve DNA replication. Why is it biologically advantageous for only one of the 4 megaspores to become functional in most angiosperms? A. To ensure diploid genetic stability. B. To reduce the chances of cross-pollination. C. To streamline resources for a single embryo sac formation, increasing efficiency. D. To produce multiple zygotes from a single ovule. Correct answer is C. To streamline resources for a single embryo sac formation, increasing efficiency. Explanation: in most angiosperms, only 1 out of the 4 megaspores formed after meiosis becomes functional, while the other 3 degenerate. This selective development is an adaptive strategy that enhances resource efficiency. By channeling energy and nutrients into the development of a single functional megaspore, the plant ensures the successful formation of 1 viable embryo sac per ovule, which is sufficient for fertilization and seed development. Option C correctly reflects this efficient allocation of developmental resources. Option A is incorrect because diploid genetic stability is maintained through fertilization, not megaspore selection. Option B is unrelated, as megaspore development has no direct impact on pollination type. Option D is false because angiosperms typically produce 1 zygote per ovule, not multiple. Given that mitotic divisions in embryo sac formation are free nuclear, what would happen if cell walls were prematurely formed after the first mitosis? A. The embryo sac would develop normally. B. Formation of a 2-cell structure would restrict proper nuclear migration and polarity. C. Synergids and antipodals would become indistinguishable. D. It would cause development of extrapolar nuclei. Correct answer is B. Formation of a 2-cell structure would restrict proper nuclear migration and polarity. Explanation: the mitotic divisions in embryo sac development are normally free nuclear, meaning the nuclei divide without cytokinesis initially. This allows nuclei to migrate and properly position themselves at the micropylar and chalagial ends, establishing polarity essential for functional organization of the embryo sac. If cell walls were to form prematurely after the first mitosis, the 2 nuclei would be enclosed in separate cells, thereby preventing their migration and disrupting the establishment of polarity. This would hinder the formation of the characteristic 8 nucleate, 7-celled structure. Hence, option B is correct. Option A is wrong because normal development requires free nuclear divisions. Option C is incorrect as early wall formation doesn't affect identity of synergids or antipodals directly but blocks correct positioning. Option D is factually wrong because polar nuclei do not increase in number due to cell wall formation. Why is the location of the filiform apparatus at the micropilar end functionally significant in fertilization? A. It controls zygote division after fertilization. B. It transports sperm cells to the antipodals. C. It provides a chemotropic signal to guide the pollen tube directly to the synergids. D. It regulates ovule polarity and embryo sac development. Correct answer is C. It provides a chemotropic signal to guide the pollen tube directly to the synergids. Explanation: the filiform apparatus is a thickened region in the synergids located at the micropilar end of the embryo sac. Its primary function is to guide the pollen tube toward the synergid cells by releasing chemotropic signals that direct the tube's growth. Once the pollen tube reaches the synergid, it releases the sperm cells, allowing fertilization of both the egg and the central cell. Option C is correct as it highlights the key role of the filiform apparatus in pollen tube guidance. Option A is incorrect because zygote division is regulated after fertilization by other genetic and hormonal factors. Option B is wrong as sperm cells never travel to antipodals. Option D is incorrect since polarity and embryo sac development are established earlier, independent of the filiform apparatus. In a mutant ovule, the functional megaspore fails to undergo mitosis. What kind of reproductive failure is most likely? A. Normal embryo sac with abnormal egg cell. B. Fertilization of antipodals. C. Absence of a female gametophyte and failure of fertilization. D. Entry of pollen tube into nucellus. Explanation: the formation of the female gametophyte, embryo sac, in angiosperms depends on 3 successive mitotic divisions of the functional megaspore. If this megaspore fails to divide, the embryo sac cannot develop, resulting in the complete absence of the female gametophyte. This makes fertilization impossible because there are no egg or central cells to receive the male gametes. Thus, option C accurately describes the outcome. Option A is incorrect because no embryo sac or egg cell forms at all. Option B is biologically implausible, as antipodals do not participate in fertilization. Option D is unrelated. While the pollen tube may enter the nucellus, fertilization cannot proceed without the embryo sac structures. Assertion: the gynoecium can be monocarpellary or multicarpellary. When multicarpellary, the pistils may be free or fused. Reason: the fusion of pistils is referred to as apocarpous condition, and the free arrangement is termed syncarpous. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct answer is A. Assertion is true, reason is false. Explanation: the assertion is correct as gynoecium can indeed be either monocarpellary or multicarpellary, and in the latter case, pistils can be free, apocarpous, or fused, syncarpous. However, the reason incorrectly defines these terms. In fact, apocarpous refers to pistils being free and syncarpous refers to them being fused. Therefore, the reason is false, making option A the correct choice. Assertion: in most angiosperms, the functional megaspore gives rise to the female gametophyte by mitotic divisions. Reason: the process of megasporogenesis involves a series of mitotic divisions resulting in the formation of 4 megaspores. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct answer is C. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation: the assertion is correct as the functional megaspore does undergo mitotic divisions to develop into the female gametophyte. The reason, however, incorrectly states the type of division in megasporogenesis. Megasporogenesis involves meiotic division of the megaspore mother cell, MMC, not mitotic. Thus, while both statements are true in isolation, the reason does not explain the assertion correctly. Assertion: the embryo sac is referred to as 7-celled but 8-nucleated at maturity. Reason: 3 antipodals, 2 synergids, 1 egg cell, and 2 polar nuclei constitute the mature embryo sac. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct answer is D. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation: both the assertion and reason are correct. The embryo sac indeed contains 7 cells, but has 8 nuclei because the central cell contains 2 polar nuclei. The reason correctly explains the assertion by listing the constituent cells and nuclei. Assertion: each ovule has integuments that encircle the nucellus except at the micropylar region. Reason: the chalaja represents the basal part of the ovule and is situated near the micropyle. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct answer is A. Assertion is true, reason is false. Explanation: the assertion is true, integuments do cover the nucellus except at the micropyle. However, the reason is false because the chalaja is not near the micropyle. It is actually located opposite the micropylar end. Hence, option A is correct. Assertion: the egg apparatus plays an essential role in fertilization. Reason: the filiform apparatus of the synergids helps in guiding the pollen tube into the embryo sac, enabling fertilization. A. Assertion is true, reason is false. B. Assertion is false, reason is true. C. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. D. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Correct answer is D. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation: both the assertion and the reason are true and related. The egg apparatus consists of the egg cell and synergids, and the synergids contain filiform apparatus, which guides the pollen tube to the egg cell. Hence, the reason correctly explains the assertion.